Okay, let's go ahead and get started for this week. This is week number 5 or module number 5, and this will be the last live classroom. So we'll cover, today we're going to kind of cover what is due this week and talk about some of the other things we're doing. Um, the first thing is I would really like for everyone to add music to their final project because it does help to set the tone of the animation. Okay, and then we'll talk about importing audio. Uh, Importing audio is pretty simple. Just import it like any other element or footage, and you can edit audio in After Effects using keyframes, or you can use Adobe Audition as they do work together. So if you do have the Adobe Creative Cloud, you can use Adobe Audition to trim a clip, or you can do that inside the timeline as well. Uh, and we'll talk motion tracking uh, a little bit further from last week. Most of you got that correct. Some of you didn't have the camera tracking exactly right. Most of you had the motion tracking down. On those, there were 2 videos on the announcements to show you how to do those. So if you need to go back and take a look at those, please do that. Layer masks, real important in After Effects because we can create layered animations with masks to help give depth to our animations, and so those are real helpful. And once we create them, we can animate them as well, which is nice because maybe we want text filled with an image and we want it moving through the text. We can do it using a mask with a layer of text. And then mats are a great way to keep things organized in terms of layers. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. And then adding textures. Textures are a great way to add interest to your projects. So if maybe a background is falling flat, or you need something just to make your animations a little more uh, layered or 3D, textures are a great way to do that. I use them quite a bit in the background just to kind of give it a little more life and realism. And then the assignments, you're going to work on your kinetic typography. You're going to add texture and a mask to that. The animated solar system, I posted that, the part 2 on the announcements as well. So if you follow along with that, you should have no problem with that video or with that assignment. And then this, is, of course, is the live classroom. I really want to stress that. So I believe the last class is uh, Tuesday of this week. I'll double check that and email you, but we have to have the animations, your endangered species animations done by then. So I will send an email out to let you know when that is. So you need to be working on that this week as well. So the kinetic typography additions won't take you long. And if you've made good progress on the animated solar system up to this point, you should have no problem. I think we have to label them as well as add a moon around the Earth. Okay, and then this is the live classroom. Okay, all right, so let's take a look at the content. And we always want to think about adding music and sound effects to our projects. So one place you can find those, and I might have posted some of those online, but one of the places that I go to a lot is freepik.com. It is now called uh, Magnifique. But if you're looking for music, the best thing is to go to stock here, and you can find music just about anywhere. But here we can find music. Let's just say we want something hopeful for our animation. Okay, so let's maybe just, that's a little too happy probably, but something like that. It's not bad. Okay. And here you'll find, different ones that you can download. You do have to sign up for a free membership, but a lot of these will be free to download once you sign up. And all you have to do is just hit the download here and use that. So finding music will really help set the tone of your animation and give it emotion. So take your time to, look at um, some of the different free music portals online. Also, there are sound effects that can really uh, give you some, let's go here, um, you know, some depth. So let's say we're looking for elephant. Okay. Those don't seem to be working. It's birds. And it looks like for some reason these aren't populating. You can see right here, they're all at 0. So there might be an issue with that area right now, but you can find out, there we go. That might, let's try that. There we go. So if we were looking for elephant, and it might take a minute for it to populate. So you got to wait for the sound waves to show up. So, those are a little loud, but we can control the audio volume inside the timeline as well. Okay, and we'll take a look at that here in a second. So if you're working on your animation, look for sounds as well as music for your final animation. You can also find them on YouTube. Okay, there's some other places that you can get those here. Filmmusic.io is a good place. Adobe has some as well. So, and you can add multiple tracks to your animation to give it a little bit of layered feel. So maybe some music, maybe some sound effects would be great, just to help set the tone and the mood. Okay. And when you're importing audio, basically, um, you are using any type of waveform, really. MP3s work really well. You can use wave format as well, but we want to make sure that when we're bringing it in, that it's not too loud, and you can control that within After Effects. So there is a video here. It shows you how to crop your audio. Okay, right. I use Adobe Audition. So if you have the Creative Cloud, you have access to that. And it's a really easy program to adjust volume and to clip the length of audio clips if you want. But you could just bring it into After Effects. This will show you how to do it right here. Just bring it into After Effects. And I would show you, but again, when I'm have Teams and After Effects open on this computer, it tends to crash a little bit and starts really bonking on me. So just take a look at the video here. It'll show you how to import it. It's just the same as importing most other elements. I usually put it on the very bottom layer, so it's easier to find and edit. Okay, so when you drag it in or import it, put it on the bottom layer. That'll just help manage your files a bit more. Okay, so this week you're going to be working on the moon that goes around the Earth. Let's just take a look at that real quick. And on the announcements, I posted the uh, final solar system example. And Okay, so you can see we have the moon going around the Earth which is the Earth. You are parenting the moon to the Earth, and you are parenting the label to the moon. So each of these are just parent-child relationships. Okay, so you should have most of this. Now, keep in mind, I've seen some people doing the opposite animation, the counterclockwise or clockwise. The actual solar system should be going counterclockwise. Um, but if you do it clockwise, I'll still give you credit, but the technique should be counterclockwise on this. All right. And I've also posted a short video on how to do the moon around the Earth. Look at that. Okay, so here's a quick demo. So take a look at that. That'll show you how to do the moon. And I put the label on there as well. Okay, all right, let's go back to the content. Okay, so for masks, we want to create layering effects. So we can use a mask on top of another layer to show through that layer. So having masks is a great way to create depth and layers in your animations, which I highly recommend because we want to be able to, the more elements we have in our animations, the more interesting it's going to be. You don't want it to be too busy, but you don't want it to be very static. So having more layers is going to be important. This is a really good visual of what we can do here. We can add more than one mask to the same layer. And so for this example here, uh, when we add a mask, we have to create a mask for each individual hole or transparent area, but you can add as many as you like. So this is a really good example of what I would do here is put the sky layer in behind the passenger layer, and then create a layer mask for each one of those. And that's a great way to get a lot of nice layering effect. And then again, here are masks here on LinkedIn to kind of show you how those work. Okay. Let's keep going here. And we can animate those masks. So if we wanted, for instance, uh, to do some type of transition, they're really good for transitions because we can use them to mask out what we don't want the audience to see and then reveal it like this, okay? Or we can use it as a transition between scenes, okay? So these are really good ways to do that. Also, we can feather those masks once we put it in to After Effects. We have the ability to adjust it and to animate it at the same time, okay? And opacity, so we can make it start, 100% opaque and then go to 0, okay? And we could also expand those masks. We can animate those to give it kind of like a zoom kind of look and feel in our animations, all right? And mats are a little bit different because we can create an alpha channel out of an element, okay? And we use the element to create a mat or a mask. And so a good representation here is our text, and we can create an alpha mat out of that. And then that creates a mask in terms of inverted mask layering, okay? There's a couple different ways we can do that. And again, here's a video that shows you how to use those mats as well as how to create a simple track matte or LumaMatte within After Effects. So please watch these videos. They're really helpful. You can log into LinkedIn Learning under your Rasmussen login credentials. Okay. All right. And then we have textures. Guys, in here are some free websites to find textures. Now, textures really kind of help. Let's take a look at this because textures will help give depth to your animations. So we have texture in the background, which is nice, instead of it being flat. And we also can add texture with a matte. Okay, you can see this mask here, and add texture within different elements. And again, it really helps to bring life to your animations. So think about using those in your endangered species animation as well. Okay, those are going to help you just kind of have more interest within the animation and the storyline. All right. Okay, so let's take a look at the assignments real quick. So you're just going to use your kinetic typography assignment from week number 1 or module number 1, and you're just going to add a texture and a matte in there or a mask. I'll let you use either or. And you're just going to kind of, it shouldn't take you long to do that because we just want to kind of show that we understand how to use masks and how to bring in textures to our assignments. So you're just going to add that into the kinetic typography that you've already completed. Okay. And then the animated solar system, I just kind of showed you how that works. Now you're going to add the moon, and the moon will wrap around the Earth 13 times. So using math, guys, you can just say if the Earth spins 1 time, which is 1 times 360, we can spin the moon 13 times as it's spinning around the Earth. Okay. Then we have to add names to the planets. Again, you're just parenting the labels to the planet, and you're going to add background music. So look for music to help bring the kind of the tone and the mood to your animations. And there's some free clips here, or if you go to Freepik or any of those other stock sites, you can find music. Okay. And you're going to render it, submit it on streaming YouTube or Vimeo. And some of you are forgetting to package your files. This is important because if somebody else is going to be working on your file, we need to package our files. Okay. So that's the secret phrase for today, is packaging files, because if we are going to share our project with somebody, we have to package. Basically, it's going to collect everything that's in the assignment and package it into a folder, because keep in mind that all elements in After Effects are linked. They are not embedded. You can embed some elements, but for the most part, they are tied to linked files outside the project. So everything has to be in one folder, the root folder, where everything is kept track of. Okay, so make sure that when you're done with your projects to package and create a zip file out of those. That way you have all the elements you created and everything that you've done in terms of the project are all kept together. That's a real important aspect of After Effects, because a lot of times we're sharing our files with other team members. So having everything in one folder, all your elements, all your sounds, all your sound effects, any expressions that you've written, have them packaged in one folder. Okay. All right, so that's good enough for today. Now I'm going to tell you for next week that you're going to be finishing up your animation. Okay, so I would highly recommend that you're using some of your time this week to work on that because it's going to be due this week or next week. I will send out a email in just a bit that explains when the final class is. Okay. I don't have a due date on this yet because I need to double check the deadline on that. Okay. So I'll be sending it out in just a bit. So anyways, that's the live classroom for this week. Please check the announcements as there's a couple resources there to help you with the homework and any of the projects we're working on this week. So please check those and email me with any questions. And I think that's good enough for the day. Next week, there will not be a live classroom because it's a short week. So just be sure that you have all your assignments turned in as well as working on your final this week so we can get all the grades in because grades will be due shortly after the last class. Okay. All right. So email me if you have any questions and just contact me if you need help with anything. All right. Okay. Well, I think that's good enough for the day. And I'll see you later and email me if you have any questions. Catch you later.